and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning.
I'm listening to the music. Listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there is power truth. I think we did us a good thing changing our intro music, but I get into the music. I'm sitting here and I'm watching them because I could see that. I watched that movie enough times that I could see him tap dancing. Mm-hmm. Did you know she couldn't dance until that movie?
No, I did not know that.
She learned to dance on that movie.
Well, she did a fabulous job.
Oh, it's just an awesome movie. I just loved them all. I loved them all.
But, yes, and I did try to locate.
And good morning, everyone.
Oh, did we forget about them?
We forgot about our listeners. Oh, my gosh. It's all about you. And they'll learn soon enough that Beth gets involved in music, and sometimes she kind of loses it.
And I get involved in the conversation and forget all about it.
Because I'm that way. Just like spider web. I just bring you in. Okay.
But
all right, go ahead.
I tried to find a remake of that, and I cannot find one.
Well,
there was one that was remade. There was a remake on one of those animated, like the Trumps, not the Trumps, but I can't even think of what they're called because I don't watch them and so forth. But it wasn't a very good remake of it. It was, they kind of making fun of it and so forth. So, but anyway, we'll keep looking.
But okay, we'll do that. But there's got to be out there. Somebody has done it. So,
good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. Well, I think we have lots of news. I don't know what's going on in Melody's world, but I have a few things here. I thought this was interesting. This came out on into my emails yesterday afternoon, that the International Olympic Committee on Tuesday banned Russia from competing in the 2018 Winter Olympics in, I can't say that. Yeah, it's in South Korea. It's in that little town in South Korea. Olympic leaders made their decision in response to an ongoing investigation that has found evidence of widespread doping among Russian athletes, coaches, and officials. Authorities have also alleged that Russian testing lab tampered with samples taken from the athletes during the 2014 Winter Olympics. The announcement followed a day of debate among the members of the IOC Executive Board, who are meeting in Lausanne, Switzerland this week. So 2 years ago, the IOC took a different approach, asking the individual federations that govern each sport to decide on eligibility. As a result, only a portion of the Russian team was allowed to participate in 2016. Well, that was in Rio de Janeiro. So the Russians are still in trouble. The Russians are in trouble. They can't compete.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, and they had issues at the last one, as you mentioned, and so forth. And, we talked about this yesterday on my afternoon show. Was there something behind this, with the United States and so forth? I think it was the time before with Obama who was pushing. They were there, but I can't remember the story. So Russia's been in, the poor part of the Olympics, not a bad, with a bad reputation for, recent times anyway. But what's interesting, though, I saw an article about how the staffers of the Olympic Games are kind of scared to go. There aren't as many volunteering because the city, I'm going to call it Pyeongchang. It's a remote South Korean city just 40 miles south of the demilitarized zone. And so, now this isn't, people might get it confused with Pyongyang, North Korea, but they're saying that they really don't want to sign up for the Olympics because they're afraid to get nuked. And I never even thought of that before. to the point where,
maybe they need to bring the
such
Russians. Maybe they should bring the Russians in. Maybe
Yeah.
North Korea guy will think twice before he nukes them with the Russians sitting there, because they wouldn't take kindly. They wouldn't ask permission like the United States has been doing in the past. Not now with Donald Trump, with President Trump. He's not asking permission, but Russia would just say, "Okay, you're done."
So so I find that a little interesting, though, that I never even thought of the location, and with the tensions that are growing in the area and the threats and so forth back and forth, that a lot of the volunteers are saying, I don't know if I want to go. It's too much, and it's only 40 miles south of the line, so kind of interesting part of the world in order to have the Olympics. And the Olympics, I thought, was always meant to sort of bring the world together. This is one part that they could all compete and
compete without shooting at one another.
Compete without shooting at
without nuking one another.
Without nuking one another. So we'll see if this is the case, and I don't know. And I should have looked this up prior to coming on the program. Does North Korea participate in the Olympics?
I guess we could figure that out real quick, I'm sure. Okay, that's the assignment out there if you're listening. Help us out here.
I don't know if it matters, but they first participated at the Olympic Games in 1964, appearing only in the Winter Olympic Games that year. 8 years later, in 1972, the nation first participated at the Summer Olympic Games. Since then, the nation has appeared in every summer game except when North Korea joined the Soviet-led boycott in the 84 Summer Olympics. And when they boycotted the 88 games in Seoul, North Korea's attendance at the Winter Games has been infrequent. Only 7 of the last 12 games have included a North Korean team. In 2010, a team competed at the Winter Olympics in Vancouver.
I've got something here that says they are going to compete.
They are going to compete.
North Korea will be represented at the 2018 Winter Olympics by 2 figure skaters, and it gives their names. So they're not in everything, I guess, but they are going to be in that anyway.
Well, they are going to, and they do qualify for the 2018 Olympics, but normally, crossing the DMZ border is not permitted. So they are. So we'll see. So there's going to be 2 of them there. So talking about Russia, Putin has declared his intention to seek re-election for the second consecutive term in their 2018 election.
He's running against him. Just asking. I know they'll have somebody, but I mean, I just kind of chuckling because of the last time they had an election and how that went.
Well, the campaigning for all the candidates for Russia's top job is set to kick off in December, which is we're here. Unless they have a different December than what we have.
We've arrived in December.
We have arrived in December. So,
and Emmy definitely arrived in December. That's my granddaughter.
Yes,
in case
I know.
Anybody's trying to figure out.
So he'll be running again, and I can't even imagine a reason why he wouldn't succeed, for his 4th term. But
imagine that he would.
Yes.
Well, I had something that I thought was kind of comical, just because I went off on this a few times during the President Barack Obama's administration when Michelle Obama decided to take care of everybody's food and health. I don't know if you talked about her lunch programs at all, but you've got to feed teenagers a little bit more than what Michelle Obama wanted to feed teenagers, so you're going to have some hangry teenagers. We call it hangry at our house. If they get hungry and they're angry, it's hangry. Anyway, it says here at the beginning of the Trump administration has been punctuated by toppling many of Obama-era regulations. And Trump has regularly basked in the continual reversal of Obama policies via executive order by his administration. One of the most controversial regulation legacies of the Obama administration was their school lunch reform program. The National School Lunch Program sets guidelines for lunches across the country, and First Lady Michelle Obama severely restricted the calories and sugar content of the program, which led to reports of school children being hungry and malnourished because they wouldn't eat the stuff. They just wouldn't eat it. And if you looked at it, you wouldn't have ate it either. Some of it was pretty disgusting. It says now one of the favorite lunchtime staples banned by the Michelle Obama rules is getting back into the lunchtime rotation of American public schools, and that is chocolate milk. With 1% fat will again be available to public school children after new rules. Anyway, he titled this, the guy that wrote this, he's Finney Johnson, he titled it, Trump Erases Another Tasty Part of Obama's Legacy. Got milk, Michelle? Chocolate milk was one they took off, and chocolate milk, you have a lot of kids that won't drink milk, but they'll drink chocolate milk. And children, teenagers, have to have a higher, they can maintain it better than you and I can. They have to have a higher calorie content and a higher fat content than adults. We've already done our growing. Our cells have already done all their multiplying, and now they're just falling off or accumulating as fat cells. So they have to have a little bit more. And I was going to say, if she'd have been at my house, she'd have had some hangry teenage boys that would not have been very happy if they'd have gone underneath her lunch program. So anyway, that's just another one. I thought it was kind of funny because it made the news. We've got chocolate milk back in the school.
Well, I do think there should have been some sort of changing. I think I have more problems with the amount of soda pop machines and snack machines. They could take them out.
Take them out.
Just take them out. Yeah,
I remember when they put them in. I was in, I think 6th grade when the school I was attending.
We never had them.
They put it in, but it had fruit in it. It wasn't soda. It had fruit that you could put, I don't remember what you put in it. I never had the money. I always took my lunch, peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day. and no chips on the side either, except on special days.
Yeah,
but there was fruit. You could put the coin in and get an apple or an orange or a banana. It was fruit in the machine.
Yeah, so I do believe the schools should have changed things and so forth and whatnot. But but some of those meals that we saw pictures of,
they were pretty nasty.
They were pretty nasty. I would even feed that to my dog.
No.
I respect her more than that.
And don't give him chocolate milk. Don't give her chocolate.
No, we went through that last year.
But the machines isn't what the lunch program was about. The lunch program
it wasn't
about what they actually serve in the cafeterias, and it was pretty bad. It was, I don't know what nutritionist went. The idea of getting something that's nutritious is also appealing. It has to be appealing. If it doesn't taste good, doesn't look good, and the kids aren't going to eat it, you're just wasting your money and your time, which is what happened. And it went on to explain that it just wasted a lot of money because the food was going in the trash. So anyway, I thought it was funny that got milk. Chocolate milk is back in the school, and that made the headlines. At least for him.
Did you see the Steve Bannon?
Bannon.
Steve Bannon, he was down in Alabama. If we have any Alabama listeners, I really would appreciate hearing from you guys and
we would.
To see what's going on down there with Roy Moore. What is the public opinion down there, and what really is going on, and what's being said, and is he going to be elected next week? But so give out the phone number, and then we got to go to break, Beth.
Okay, I hear it. 717-300-1218 is the number to call if you want to join us in conversation. And we do want to hear from you if you happen to be listening in Alabama. Give us a call and let us know what's going on down there. 717-300-1218. Melody and Beth Ann will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Yuji. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a reestablished Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned to listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, and we are going to continue our conversation, but we ask for you to call in if you're listening in Alabama. And I know that you're out there because you call in every once in a while, but if you're listening in Alabama, what is your opinion? What is going on down there with Roy Moore, with Judge Roy Moore? And we just kind of, we're up here, and, well, she's up there on the east, and I'm right here smack dab in the middle. I'm a flyover state. So we just kind of wanted to know what was going on. I thought some kind of funny, and I guess he got some laughs out of it. Of course, the Supreme Court, the new Supreme Court judge, it says here he just dropped the ultimate wedding cake truth bomb. And this is his statement. And here you have cake that is essentially synonymous with a traditional sculpture except for the medium used. But I also think that the Second Circuit's decision in the Mastro Cenezzo, I can't even say these things, case, provides a good and workable standard when you've got something that is part art and part utilitarian. And what the Second Circuit asks is it predominantly art or predominantly utilitarian? And here people pay very high prices for these highly sculpted cakes, not because they taste good, but because they're artistic qualities. He says, I think the more important point, and then he says, in fact, I have yet to have a wedding cake that I would say tasted good. And he got a laugh out of that because they are done more for their art than they are for their taste. He needs to come to the Midwest. We have some pretty good bakers out here. Maybe they're not as fancy, but we have some pretty good cake usually at the weddings. I've had some bad ones, but usually they're pretty good.
So
serve both utilitarian and speech interests. See, they're trying to say, are they just serving food or are they serving art? And the primary purpose of cake is consumption, but it might also convey creation expression, which is what the one who's being that's in there fighting for his livelihood is trying to say, that this is an expression of my creativity and my beliefs. And it goes on in this article. I'll finish this up. This is true of other businesses involved in a wedding ceremony, like jewelers and dressmakers. As such, he said, the court needs to find formula that effectively differentiates between purely expressive conduct, mixed expression conduct, and non-expressive conduct for purpose of possible speech-based exemption to public accommodation laws. Anyway, that's a lot of hoopla just to say whether he has the right to deny somebody cake or not. He said, the baker, I heard him say yesterday evening that he doesn't even bake Halloween cakes because he doesn't believe in Halloween. And, he doesn't bake anything that's anti-American. He won't do anything that's anti-American, anything that's satanic, anything that goes against his faith. And a gay marriage goes against his beliefs and his faith, and so that's why he refused to do a wedding cake.
And you know what? That's what I'm not quite sure. They're trying to say it's an artistic creation and saying that's his religious right.
Yeah, they're not
choose.
saying religious.
They're not saying religious, but no, that's what it's all about.
It is.
And they're trying to muscle it into art, creation, and food. And it's like, well, those aren't the issues. The issues is his religious right. And it's not like this is the one thing. He didn't set precedence by this was the first time he's decided that he was going to go this way. But then again, if he was born again the day before and he chose that one particular cake to begin his mission, that he didn't want to bake these cakes anymore or for Halloween or anything else, that's his right. But if he hasn't done this in the past, he has set a precedence that that these various cakes were against his religious belief. And so, it is interesting that they, it's going to take them till June to do a decision on this. And I heard he also was willing to bake a cake for them. He was willing to bake a cake for them, but they wanted something on. He was willing to do a wedding cake for them, but they wanted something specific on the wedding cake, and then that's when they said, no. He said, hey, if you want a wedding cake, I'll bake you a wedding cake. But they wanted something else. And I don't know exactly what that was, but so. Well,
and it's going to be interesting just to see what takes place, but I do believe he was targeted. I think they knew his characteristic, they knew his personality and his faith, and I think they targeted him. That's what I think. I could be wrong on that, but I think, it's like we said the other day, they don't target Muslim bakers to bake their same-sex cakes, wedding cakes. They target Christian bakers. And it's
like I'm a Christian. I wouldn't go to a satanic bakery if I wanted a wedding, But so maybe they didn't know. I don't know. Maybe they could have, but we don't know what was their original point in all of this. But
and it might have inconvenienced them, but he wasn't the only cake baker. He wasn't the only bakery in town. They could have gone to another.
Well, I heard they did. I don't know.
Did they get turned away there?
I don't know. I think this was the only one that they turned away.
So they did get married and they did have their cake.
But you know, if you're a good baker and you have a reputation, and that's where you want to go. You don't have to go out into different places and so forth. I mean, if ABC Bakery in my town has the best cakes, that's where I'd want my cake baked at. So I don't know, but the bottom line is this is a religious freedom to me, and
I think so too.
And I'm kind of glad. I hope it gets ruled as it should be, and.
Like we said yesterday, I would have a problem if he just refused to serve them at all.
Yes.
No, I'm not selling you anything because you're gay. I would have had a problem with that.
Yes.
But the wedding cake is totally different. It's a totally different thing. It's not, because he does have to bake it specifically for them for this event.
Yes.
It's not like, hey, I've got a stack of cupcakes over here, or I've got this, it was for a specific event. And so it is religious decision, not an artistic decision, but I think that's the direction they're going to go with it because
excuse me, and I hope it gets the right decision.
I do too.
Because it'll mean something. And so I think if we get the right decision, then this was meant to be. And so
I had an article yesterday. I think I used it on CSC Talk Radio. I might have casually mentioned it on ours. I'm not sure. But it was it's a doctor, and she was going off on the situation with Roy Moore and some of the hypocrisy that's behind this, including on the Republican side. But she had quoted Judge Ginsburg, is that her name? Mm-hmm. The elder woman on the Supreme Court. And she was saying, well, back in her day, her grandmother was just 14 when she got married. They got married and they lived a happy, long life. And what this doctor, her name is Dr. Jane Orient, and she's really good. I've had her on. We need to get her on, too. I've had her on in the past. It's been a long time. We've talked about Obamacare and some other things. She does really good writings with the organization that she's with. But she was talking about how, he was a bachelor. This was 40 years ago. He was a bachelor and he dated younger women. And the worst thing that they can come out against him is, he maybe kissed him a little too passionately. I thought the way she worded it, she goes, now, she says, in my book, I think it's icky. That was the word she used in her article. I think it's icky that an older man would date such a younger woman, but a younger girl. But she said there was consent, the parents consented and everybody consented, and now they're trying to claim it as that he's a pedophile. And she said he's had 40 years of, he's stood strong in his marriage, and on his convictions of he's pro-life. That's a lot of the reasons some of them don't want him in there. But then and I thought of you because she said, a Republican who was well known for his carousing and even left his ailing wife for a younger, more beautiful woman, where does he get off telling Judge Roy Moore that he should back out of the race? And I thought of you because I think I knew who she was talking about. She didn't name him by name, but he was a Republican, and he's, his face is very prominent in the arena. So, anyway, when is that election? That's next week, isn't it?
That is next week. That is next week. Yes, and you do have to look at their histories since those things have happened. I mean, they talk about why they talk about he was removed as Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court, like he did something wrong. Well, but look at what he was standing up for. Mm-hmm. He was refusing to take down a statue of the Ten Commandments. The second suspension came when he defied a Supreme Court ruling legalized same-sex marriage. Again, this is his religious right. So, it's the other side doesn't go into details why actually he was, if he was removed, it was because of these good things that he was doing. He was standing up for his, for his faith that this country was based on, and it's no, he was kicked out. That's all you hear. And the majority of the people in this country, they don't bother. They don't want to know why. They don't want to know the reasons why he was suspended and removed.
One of the attorneys that's on Fox News that I really like, I disagree with him when it comes to Judge Roy Moore. He doesn't like Judge Roy Moore because of him going against the federal court. Regardless of what the reason was, he defied, the federal courts. Well, when do we, the people, draw the line in this deep state that's telling us your religious freedoms don't matter, only politically correctness matters? When do we, the people, put our foot down and say, no, that evil is evil and good is good? It's not the other way around. So anyway, that's one thing I do not agree with him on. That he doesn't like Judge Roy Moore just for that reason. Now, he's not necessarily against him, but that's just one thing he has against him. He's not necessarily totally anti him, but anyway.
Yeah, and then you got the other Democrat who has pictures of grabbing someone when they're sleeping, franking.
Yeah, and they do nothing about it.
And they do nothing. And that was a more recent time than 40 years ago.
As well as Conyers.
Well, at least Conyers is stepping down. But
he's going to have his son take over. He's trying to talk him into keeping his legacy going.
I don't think. From what I heard, he can't have his son, and they have to be voted. Now maybe
he's trying to talk him into supporting his son and putting him on the ballot.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was. I mean, I know he has to be voted in.
But but back to Franken, they're not requesting him to do anything. They're not asking him to step. They're just ignoring that situation.
Well, now the other one that just recently got in trouble. Let me see if I can find that. He's been accused. His allegations are he was pleasuring himself in front of lobbyists. And apparently Nancy Pelosi knew this a long time ago and did nothing about it. They had already investigated it a while back and do nothing about it. Of course, now it's hitting the airwaves. Everybody's learning about it, and it's like she's going to gasp. My goodness, this happened. But it says the first-term Democrat congressman accused of the sexual harassment said the House Minority Leader, Nancy Pelosi, knew about the allegations while he was running for office and supported him anyway, putting millions of dollars behind his 2016 congressional campaign. So this has been going on a long time. During his campaign, this is somebody different. I take that back. Nevada Republican Ruben Cahoon allegedly propositioned a female staffer on multiple occasions and touching her in places he shouldn't have. And the staffer resigned during the primary. Pelosi was quick to go after him. Okay, I'm sorry, that's the Republican. They go after the Republican and they ignore the Democrats. Mm-hmm. But the Democrat guy that's in trouble, I can't think of his name. But anyway, there's several of them. But you can obviously see the hypocrisy and the double standards.
I don't understand. Well, I do understand. But the reasons, the slush fund, why are those names not being released immediately? Immediately. There's no discussions about it. And if they're telling us 15, 16, 17 million, it's probably 25, 30, and 50
million. Oh, it's going up. Every time they talk about it, it's going up.
Of course.
Let me give this number out to our listeners. 202-224-3121. Call the switchboard in D.C. and tell them you want names. You want names.
Yes, I mean, what is the big? I mean, it should be done immediately, and it should be coming from the top. And that's what I don't get.
You elected them, you own them. They are not elite over us. We are in charge of them. And you know what? When Mom got mad at me, I had to pay the price. And we should be angry at this. This is beyond just the sexual harassment. This is stealing from the American people. And we know they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
They steal all the time.
They steal all the time.
So anyway,
But we know they're stealing.
Yes.
We know they stole from the Social
crimes.
Security Fund.
This is to cover crimes.
Yes.
All of it's a crime. Stealing from the Social Security is a crime. But this is just this is beyond. You can't make this stuff up.
And I don't understand and it should really be coming down from the top. And so I have to think that there's some fairly high named people on that list that, you know, their lives will be destroyed, their marriages, everything will be destroyed. But I would assume.
I really don't care.
I don't either.
I really don't care.
I don't either.
They're okay with destroying our lives.
Yep.
202.
I don't care either. But that's why I'm saying it's not coming down from the top.
Let me give the number again. 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. It's the DC switchboard. You need to burn it up. Burn it up. Tell them we want the names of the slush fund. We don't care who they are, what party they are, how high up or long they've been there. We want their names, and we want them now. It is a republic, which means that we, the people, are in charge. It only works if we take charge. So, okay. Enough of that. Enough of that.
Well, we all know the impact of vaccines. And a recent report, this is actually from the Daily Mail, and it says America faces one of the worst flu seasons ever. Doctors are warning the vaccine is only 10% effective this year, and infections are already on the rise. You know, how incompetent are these people?
They don't know.
They don't know.
They're just guessing as to what flu bug is going to go around, which virus is going to be.
And they do it a year in advance. So the vaccine, the flu vaccine for this year, went into production a year ago. So how in the heck did they know a year ago exactly what strain is going to be floating around this year? The H3N2 flu strain this year is what the U.S. is going to be hit. The same strain is responsible for the biggest outbreaks in recent history. Australia suffered the worst flu to date this summer due to the H3N2 flu strain, and the vaccines are only set to be effective 10%. And they said this is going to be similar to the outbreak in 2014, and they say it's been a little bit weakened since then, but flu is serious business. And folks, if you get, I take my chances without the flu shot.
I do too.
And I can only really remember having the flu once, and this was probably 10 years ago. Well, back in 2003, so it's longer than 10 years. And I wait, because I'm one that doesn't go to the doctor. I think, I'll take my stuff and, I'll take my oregano and all my, stuff and I'll be fine. And usually at the third day, you usually will start getting better. Well, by the third day, I wasn't. And I did get a little scared. I was a little concerned until I went to the doctor. So don't wait, particularly if you're older. If you don't see an improvement in, I'd say, 24 hours, Beth, maybe?
Well,
24
to 48 hours. If you're not getting any relief, you need to, there she's coughing.
Oh, that's my allergies. It's been so warm.
But, when the kids were sick, the doctor back in the day used to say, let them fight it 3 to 5 days. But with the flu, that's a different thing,
Yeah.
And when we are getting older, we're not getting younger. I don't know that I've ever really had the flu. I had something I was pretty sick with and ran fever, but I think it was tonsillitis. I don't think I had the flu, but I was pretty sick, and I'll tell you what, about 3 or 4, and I was being put on antibiotics because that was when I actually worked at the clinic, and they were sending medicine home with another nurse that happened to live close by, and I was beginning to think I wasn't going to get well. It was really frustrating when you deal with fever for several days, and I was weak enough I didn't even want to pick my head up off the pillow, but I did. I did get up. I didn't get up, do anything. Got up, went to the bathroom, went back to bed, but it was, I really wasn't feeling well. But I don't take the flu shots, because they are a guess. They're guessing at what's going to go around, and but I have lots of friends that do take them. I have a girlfriend that deals with vaccines, so she and I don't always agree on that. And but my husband took the flu shot and the pneumonia shot this year. He has had stents put in his heart back in 2006. And so they watch him pretty close, and we don't want him catching things. And so they do. He did go in and get that, and he was talking about how much it cost. And I said, yeah, and there's no reason for that. But then he also used to say, you got to remember, they're practicing medicine. They're practicing.
We have Joe. Let's see if we can get to Joe before the break. Joe from Arkansas.
Okay, I wanted to talk to you about the flu shot. And I got a few things I'd like to say about that. I was talking to a friend of mine a few days ago, and he was telling me that he was getting over one of the worst cases of flu he's ever had in his life, that he had some kind of horrible, besides the respiratory difficulties, he had some kind of horrible stomach problem, was throwing up a lot, and this kind of stuff because of this flu that he got. So I asked him, did you get a flu shot? And he said, yeah, I got this thing 3 days after I took the flu shot.
Wow.
And so that's one example. Another example, some years ago I talked to an old fellow, and he said that he was a Marine in 1959 when they first brought out the flu shots, and so that he was on this base, and they made all the Marines on the base take the flu shot. And he said that nobody had the flu before they gave everybody the flu vaccine, but after they gave everybody the flu shot, just about everybody came down with the flu, and they had to shut the base down for about 3 weeks because hardly anybody could do anything because everybody was sick with the flu. So personally, I am absolutely convinced that you're much better off not taking the flu shot than to take the flu shot, that you're much more likely to be free of the flu if you don't take the flu shot than if you take the flu shot. And my personal experience with all this has been that I've been on the raw food diet, not perfectly, but about 95% for many, many years. I read about years ago.
We're going to have to, Joe, we're going to have you hold because we're too close to the break. You're not going to get your story. And so hang on. Going into a break. 717-300-1218 is the number to call. That's 717-300-1218. Melody and Beth Ann and Joe will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
2 hours of the day because I do them back to back. 717-300-1218 is the number to call. But we were talking to Joe, and he was just getting ready to tell us about his choice of healthy living. Joe? Are you still there, Joe?
Yeah, hello?
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Healthy living.
So like I said, I read about the raw food diet many years ago. It made sense to me that it said that, the books that I read said that most of the nourishment in food is destroyed when you cook it, and if you eat raw, you'll be a lot healthier. So I tried doing it. It made sense to me, and I found that I was just absolutely amazed how much better I started feeling when I lived just on raw food, or very nearly so. And I also found that I used to get colds and flu about 3-4 times a year, like so many people do. But after I went on the raw food diet, I only got colds or flu about once every 3 or 4 years. And when I did get it, it wasn't anywhere near as severe. I didn't have fever. I didn't have to stop work or anything. I didn't feel all that bad. I just had to blow my nose a lot, and otherwise I could go about my life as usual when I got a cold or flu. And so my experience is that if you, will do something to clean and detoxify your body and get plenty of good nourishment from natural raw food, then you will either not get sick, not get the cold or flu, or if you do, on the rare occasion when you do, it will be much, much less severe than it is otherwise. So I think that's a much, much, much better way to prevent flu than the flu shot. It also seems, my experience also with the raw food diet is it seems to wake up a lot of sleeping parts of your mind and makes you more intelligent than you were before. For instance, I was quite a socialist before I did this, and then I got completely convinced that the Constitution was the way to go. Our founding fathers were much smarter politically, had much more political wisdom than any of these Marxists or socialists or left-wingers or stuff like that when I went on the raw food diet. So that's what I wanted to contribute to the discussion today. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
all righty,
Joe.
thank you, Joe. So I guess we just need to get all those Democrats eating some and those lefty liberals just on a raw food diet. Yeah.
Oh, well, we do have to be healthier, and we have to take responsibility for our health. Whether you make the decision that you want to take the vaccines or not take the vaccines, that's your decision. Do your research and know what you're doing. But we have to do that personally and be healthy. When we were younger, we thought we were invincible. Well, now that I'm a little older, I realize I'm not invincible. I do have a few aches and pains that I didn't have when I was a kid, or a younger woman. But you do have to take responsibility for your health. We didn't worry about wrinkles when we were 21. We thought our skin was going to be beautiful forever, and now we've got these character lines. And you just take care of yourself, take care of your skin, take care of your body, take care of your health, and take care of your finances.
Yes.
How was that for a ploy? Getting right in there into gold and silver. I'm just pushing it right at you there.
1-800-375-4188. We've had gold and silver, with these high stock market prices and, with the movement up, with the hopes of tax reform and so forth. And they'll get something done and pass before Christmas. But we also have the debt that they're going to have to deal with and so forth. So we've seen some pressure on both gold and silver. And there isn't a better time because once this, and I know people get tired of me saying, once this turns, once this changes, it's going to go up forever and ever. And it's like, you know what? It is. It will. and it will protect your purchasing power. And every time we have dips like this, we shouldn't complain. Yeah, it gets a little frustrating with the manipulation of the markets, and, gold and silver should be much higher. My gosh, we're ready to go to war with North Korea. We have bubbles in the stock market. We have bubbles in the bond market. We have bubbles in Bitcoin. We have bubbles everywhere that are all ready to break. And yet gold and silver are priced at the lowest levels, and that's why. Once those bubbles begin to break, you'll see that seesaw reverse itself. You'll see the paper markets go down, and you'll see gold rise. And gold and silver has been hit. We should be thankful that these prices have been pressured to stay at these levels that they've been. They've stabilized here where we're at. So we see a trend trying to break 1,300. We fall back. Tries to hit 1,300 and falls back. And what great buying opportunities. Be thankful, because I'll tell you what, when gold reaches 5,000 and silver's 100 or 200, you're going to be thankful you have gold and silver. But you won't be thankful for everything that's going on around you, because it's going to be very difficult times when we see those numbers that high. And it's just a matter of time until they get there. And, when I think what we've been experiencing since the Great Recession is we've seen the true globalization of financial markets, with the banking, with the stock markets. They've eased the stimulus to where money can be moved, and I think that's a lot that has to do with Bitcoin, why it's going to the degree that it is, because you don't know what money's going in there and whose money is it. We don't know. And but once that money starts being pulled out, I think everything is going to be dropped. So, they've globalized us with computers. They've globalized us with financing, with our, again, as I mentioned, our banking systems, our stock markets, our financial systems. And the one thing that's holding all these systems together is our dollar. Yes. And look how worthless it's becoming. And look at all these other countries that are looking to pull away from the dollar. They're looking for various ways to sell oil. They're looking for various ways where countries can trade without the dollar. And it's going to happen overnight. We're experiencing the changes now. It's changing now. And it's like people just can't see it. They can't get past the 24,000 Dow. They can't get past the 6,700 NASDAQ. They can't get past, the bonds and all the other high numbers. But you need to. And you need to make decisions and get your retirements protected. Buy the insurance that'll protect your paper investments. Even if you hold your paper investments, get it insured with your gold and silver. And
I had an article that said that China was, it took another big step toward dethroning the dollar on the global currency, and that's something I thought of you. Every time I see some of these, I think of you, and I'm wondering, another one that just said, the collapse is inevitable. It's going to happen, and we just kind of poo-poo them, kind of like other things. Yeah, well, whatever, we know it's going to happen, but we got to prepare for them. Just like we know cold weather's coming, so you get the wood in. I mean, some people literally have to get the wood in. You have to make, a storm's coming. You make sure you've got your food, your water, and your whatever it is you have to have. If you're not going to get out of the house for a while, you make plans to stay healthy, to eat healthy. So you've got to make plans to have a healthy financial situation, portfolio, and we know it's coming. We just don't know when.
And we're getting closer and closer. I mean, look at the amount of debt that we have. You don't see any infrastructure. If we really wanted to help this country and see it grow, it would have been infrastructure spending, roads, our airports, our bridges, and how are we going to do any of that when we can't, all we're doing is paying the interest on our debt. We're not paying down any of that principal. We can't pay down any of that principal. So we go to tax reform, and they talk about privatizing the infrastructure. where companies could privatize and create loans and bonds, and it's like, what? It's crazy. There's a day of reckoning for for having a fiat currency where there's been no accountability. We talk about our government. We talk about all the problems. We talk about our liberties and our rights that are being infringed upon. We talk about, D.C. and the politicians. Why do you think we have those problems? Why do you think they're as big as they are? Because the only thing that kept government accountable was gold, by having a gold-backed currency. It kept them it restrained them. But hey, once they took us off after they confiscated gold in 1933, look what ushered in next, all of these socialized programs. And here we are today with IOUs and all the programs that were created after they confiscated gold. So, folks, give us a call at 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. We're out of time.
We are. You have a good rest of the day,
Thank
and
you.
We'll see you on CSC Talk Radio here in just a moment.
Very good.
Thank you, Melody.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.